Hello class, welcome to lesson 1-5, which is all about equations. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to solve equations with one variable, and you should be able to solve equations with two variables. Okay, so let's look at our first set of vocab. The first term is open sentence. An open sentence is a mathematical statement that contains algebraic expressions and symbols. Okay, so an open sentence is a mathematical statement that contains algebraic expressions and symbols. An equation is a sentence that contains an equal sign. Okay, so an expression that we've been dealing with up until this point did not have an equal sign. We're now going one step further. We're adding that equal sign in, and now it's an equation. Okay, so now we're talking about solving. When I ask you or tell you that we're going to be solving something, that means we are finding a value for a variable that makes a sentence true. So finding a value for a variable that makes a sentence true. The solution is the replacement value. The replacement value, or the value that makes the equation true. Okay, so it's whatever your answer is. Okay, a replacement set is a set of numbers from which replacements for a variable may be chosen. So sometimes you're going to have an instance where you're going to have more than one number that will make the sentence or the equation true. Okay? When you have that happen, that means that you can list them as a set. Okay? A set is a collection of objects or numbers that is often shown using braces. Okay? So those are the squiggly brackets. And for those of you who find it hard to make those, one thing that a teacher once taught me is the first one here. You start by making an S and then a backwards S. And then for the other one, you do it the other way. You start with the backwards S and then make a forwards S. Okay? So hopefully that'll help you in making those. I know they're not the easiest thing to make. Do your best. An element is each object or number in the set. A solution set is the set of elements from the replacement set that make an open sentence true. So the set of elements from the replacement set that makes an open sentence true. And the identity is an equation that is true for every value of the variable. So no matter what, it's always going to work, okay? And we'll look at what that looks like, okay? Example 1, we want to find the solution to the set of the equation 2m plus 5 equals 13 if the replacement set is 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so you can see I've already made a table just to kind of help organize the data. I highly recommend this when you're trying to test out multiple things because you need to tell me whether each thing is true or false. So starting, I listed my replacement set here, I listed the equation here, and I plugged in those numbers, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and now I want to know if it's true. So it's 2 times 2, that's going to be 4, plus 5, does that equal 13? No, that 4 plus 5 only equals 9. So we're going to say that this is false. Okay, looking at the next one, 2 times 3, we have 6, plus 5. Again, does that equal 13? 6 plus 5 is 11, so we know that that is also false. Now we have 2 times 4 is 8 plus 5. Does that equal 13? 8 plus 5? Yes. So we know that this is the true value, and then 2 times 5 is 10 plus 5. Does that equal 13? No, that's false. 2 times 6, 12, and then plus 5, that's 17, not 13, so we know that this is also false. So the set that, or the number that makes this true is 4. That is our solution, okay? Now, I want you guys to try and find the solution set for 6c minus 5 equals 7 if the replacement set is 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Hopefully you ended up with 2 as your solution. If not, be sure to ask either myself or a friend. Let's look at our next example. We have an equation and we want to solve for our variable, okay? We want to know what does n equal in example 2a. So we have 7 minus, and then we have 4 squared minus 10 inside parentheses plus n equals 10. Remember, math builds on itself, so going all the way back to order of operations, PEMDAS. Okay, we're going to do our parentheses first. Inside our parentheses, we have a 4 squared minus 10. So we're going to do our exponent first. 4 squared is the same as 4 times 4, remember. It is not 4 times 2. It is 4 times 4, so that is 16 minus 10 inside our parentheses. So that is just 6 plus n equals 10. 7 minus 6 is 1 plus n equals 10. Or you could say, if you wanted, what number plus n gives you 10? We know that n has to equal 9. 1 plus 9 would give us 10. Let's take a look over on the right-hand side of the screen at our next one. We have n times the quantity of 3 plus 2 plus 6 equals 5n plus 10 minus 3. If this happens, let's see, 3 plus 2, that gives me 5n plus 6 equals 5n plus, what's 10 minus 3? 7. Okay, so if you look, we have 5n on both sides, okay? So that's going to be the same number no matter what, because it doesn't matter what we plug in for n. 5 times 1 is going to be 5 on both sides. 5 times 2, that's still going to be 10 on both sides. So we can cross those out. They cancel each other out. Now we're just left with a 6 equals 7. Uh-oh. 6 equals 7. Is that true? No, at least not in my book. But 6 equals 7 is not true in any book. So we say those are not equal, and that means that there is no solution. If you get that one number equals another number, and it just doesn't make sense, that can't be possible, then you write no solution. Okay? Why don't you take a minute and look at this example and see how you do? Hopefully you ended up with 6 as your answer. If not, be sure to ask either myself or a friend. We'd be more than happy to help. Let's look at example 3. We want to solve this. When we say we want to solve this, that means we want to solve for h. H is our variable in this equation. Okay, so let's start. We have 2 times 5 minus 8 times the quantity of 3h plus 6 equals, and we have 2h plus h plus 6 times 2, okay? So let's go through again. Our order of operations is really important. And we're going to start with our parentheses. So inside our first parentheses, 2 times 5 minus 8, which comes first, multiplication or subtraction? Multiplication. So we can say that this is 10 minus 8, which 10 minus 8 is, actually let's write it out there. We have 10 minus 8, and then we have 3h plus 6, since not both of them, or since they don't share a variable, I can't simplify that any further. I'm just going to leave that. And then when you see these square brackets, they have the same powers as parentheses, okay? I'm going to leave it for now, and I'm going to combine the first set of parentheses, which in this case, we have 2h plus h, which is 3h plus 6. Okay, 2h plus h is 3h, and then we have a plus 6, and we have a times 2. Now if we go over here, we have 10 minus 8, that is 2, times 3h plus 6, and then we have a 3h plus 6 times 2. Now, if I remember correctly, we talked about how multiplying doesn't matter what order you multiply in, you will always get the same answer. So 2 times 3h plus 6 is the same thing as 3h plus 6 times 2. Okay, so we have the same thing on both sides. Okay, so last example we talked about what happens if you get a number that equals a different number, and we said that's no solution. When you have the same number on both sides, so 2 times 3h plus 6 equals 3h plus 6 times 2, that is called the identity. That's when any number that you plug in will work. So any real number makes it true. Okay, any real number makes it true. Why don't you try to solve this example on your own, see how it goes? Hopefully for this first example here, you ended up with no solution. You should have gotten a number that equaled another number. If that was not the case, be sure to ask for some help. Your next example, take a look and try it. Hopefully for this one, you ended up with any real number as your answer. Hopefully you got something equal that same thing, and that leads to any real number as a solution because it is the identity. All right, let's take a look at our last example together. Mr. Hernandez pays $8.99 each month for Netflix. He can also buy $5 movies at Target. Write and solve an equation to determine how much he will spend if he watches Netflix for 2 months and buys 4 movies from Target. We're going to ignore tax in this example. Okay, so we know that he has Netflix, and it's $8.99 each month. So $8.99 each month. And how many months is he watching Netflix? 2 months. So we're going to multiply that by 2. And he buys 4 movies from Target, and we said the 4 movies were $5 each. Am I going to add or subtract, multiply, or divide these two numbers together? I'm going to add these together because he's going to pay for Netflix and for the movies. So $8.99 times 2, $8.99 times 2, let's round that $8.99 up to 9 so we can do it in our heads. 9 times 2 is 18, and then we're going to subtract 2 cents, so that's $17.98, plus what's 5 times 4? 20. $17.98 plus 20, that's going to give me a grand total of $37.98. $37.98. This is the last example for you guys to try on your own. Good luck. Let me know if you have any questions. Hopefully you ended up with C equals 42J plus 9.25, and you got a grand total of $261.25. If you have any questions at all on today's lesson, please be sure to either ask a friend or ask me for some help. I can't help if you don't tell me that you need it, okay? I can't read minds. Good luck with the homework. Have a good night.